Hello and welcome to a super chill sketch in a cafe kind of day.
Nothing, nothing. We don't talk about nothing no more. Nothing, nothing. We don't talk about nothing no more. Nothing, nothing. We don't talk about nothing no more.
As is with the world kind of like burning up everywhere, it is getting a little bit too hot to sketch outside. So today I thought that we would just go to a cafe, and actually in this case Starbucks, in order to get out our sketchbook, have a little bit of grub, a little bit of coffee, because caffeine is importante to me as a functioning person. And we're gonna just, sorry, I'm just looking out at my belongings right there. I can see it from the corner of my eye. And we are going to keep rolling this video. Yeah, and as I'm sitting down enjoying my coffee, listening to an audiobook, it's one of my favorite pastimes to do now, is just to go somewhere, walk, chill, and just listen to an audiobook. I thought it would be a cool thing to do is just sit down and people sketch and try out my new sketchbook that I'm still getting used to. It's a Silman & Burn Nova. I know that I've used it previously, but this is a bigger format, so I'm just trying to figure out a way to use it. It's not that big actually, it's like an A5-ish kind of size, but I'm really used to like smaller pocketbook sizes, so I'm still trying to figure out how to comfortably use the size of a sketchbook, and also how to shoot in cafes, because like, well, being outdoors I have the benefit of, you know, this kind of quiet area, which is why I picked this cafe as well, is because there is a outdoor and an indoor area. Yeah, but at the same time I cannot be out of the air conditioning for too long. So we're just getting used to the groove. We're trying something new, and you're welcome to join with me. Oh, someone just like opened the door, and the AC is just so nice. But yeah, anyway, so this is a kind of a people's sketching kind of thing, and I normally would use ink for this, like with a pen, but I'm experimenting just using pencil and going straight into paint and trying to figure out if maybe I can input like those little details like people's glasses with like a fountain pen, and let's see how it goes. Alright, we've got a bunch of sketches to do today, so let's just buzz right through it. So for the first one today, we start with like kind of outlining everything with like mask tape, mainly because I know that this sketchbook is a little bit big for me and I'm used to a lot smaller sketches, so I thought I would ease myself into this larger size sketchbook by starting off drawing roughly the same size as I did previously, and instead of just busting out and going big, especially because I have like the same equipment, the same width of like the water brush. It's not like I'm getting a bigger water brush just for this. So we're sticking with the same thing. We start off with a pencil drawing, mainly because drawing with a brush, drawing people with a brush, very, very tricky stuff. I think I'm a little bit more confident in doing that for like scenes and architecture, but for people, I think just adding in those like little details like glasses and stuff with a brush, like the water brush, is really hard. So I just thought that using a pencil I could also get maybe like the tables in perspective and the chairs in perspective, and it's just a lot easier to do with a pencil because I can always go over it, since I also have like gouache, white gouache mixed in with the watercolor, so it's really gonna cover everything. And I started going from background to foreground, starting with the sort of windows and the building that's right behind this window. And then I start off with the tables because I'm trying to get like the width of each table in proportion now that I know the angle is in perspective. And then I start coloring in the people in this sketch. Everything here is like has like a color palette, like nothing's too bright, nothing's too vibrant. Everything is kind of muted, just basically what you would expect in a cafe, really, with like more earthy brown neutral tones. So that's what I started off with. Oh, it's also maybe because like this sketchbook color is gray. You can see it if it's that it's contrasting against the white pencil, but this is a much cooler shade. So all the sketch ends up being a little bit cooler. But the good thing about having a sketch over a tone paper is that you kind of get that like mid-range value. So whenever I add white, it pops, and whenever I add dark, it pops. Like you get the best of all worlds, really. Alright, at this point I am done with one sketch, but I still have about like 40 minutes, so I'm gonna do another one. Let's go. For this second sketch, I decided to go in with a more detailed pencil drawing and do a little bit more up close and personal portrait of this person that's just working on their laptop. And because I'm using a pencil, I'm able to really draw in like the glasses and the mask and all these like little details as well. So when I go in with my watercolor, I can immediately start coloring in. It's really, sketching is just like a coloring book. You just draw your own lines and then you just color in it. Doesn't matter if you're like in the lines or you're not in the lines. Like, it's great. It's awesome. Yeah, so this lady here is wearing kind of like a beigey outfit, and I struggle with mixing that color because it's somewhat close to her face tone, so I'm just trying to add a little bit more nuance. Also because it's kind of a baggy, flowy like shirt, so I just try to add like some highlights and also some shadow tones into her shirt just to give it a little bit of form and a little bit of flow. And here, sorry about the reflection, it's basically just me trying to outline the chair and like which areas are like hit by the sunlight and which areas are in shadow. But I'm just trying to capture this little scene with, again, some minimal background details, but really the focus is her, and I'm not trying to sell this or anything, so I'm just doing a really quick sketch, just trying to get in the basic forms, and I'm happy with it, really just getting sort of the scenes of Starbucks in my sketchbook. And lastly, I know you weren't expecting this, but bonus sketch. Oh, so this was actually a sketch that I took like the week before. I was in Starbucks and I did a drawing with a water brush, haha, and it didn't turn out well. So that's why for this one, I'm actually starting with ink directly, and this is in my previous Moleskine sketchbook. I think this is like the last watercolor page of that sketchbook. So because the baristas were like moving around a lot, I had to like really bounce around between like drawing their form, and then I would draw something else, and then I would draw their form again, and then I would draw something else, because they're like hardly in a position for longer than 5 seconds really. If you look at the whole like length of this sketch, drawing them is about like half the time, and everything else is just me coloring them. And right next to me, I'm listening to a podcast. The podcast is called Beautiful Anonymous. It's probably like my favorite podcast ever. It's this comedian host, Chris Gethard, who just gets on a phone with really random anonymous people, and they just talk about like the caller's like life for about an hour. And it's been a real great companion for me every single week, and I really love listening to people's stories while I just sketch people doing their daily lives. Like, it just seems like I'm transported into another world that's completely unrelated to work and my professional life and career and stuff, and it's always good to have like that escape a little bit, and also gives you like a better perspective, or gives me a better perspective rather. Like, I'm not here to say what you should or should not listen to, but yeah, I'm just having a good time listening to the podcast and also sketching the hardworking people here at Starbucks. Alright, thank you so much for joining me. As you can see, the sun is getting quite bright, so I am determined to end this before the harsh lighting gets worse. I hope you enjoyed this kind of sketch. I know it's a little bit different. It's a little bit shorter than usual, maybe, like not so much clips in the beginning and all that jazz. But I just wanted to take you on a chill day in a cafe, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you next time, and happy sketching. Bye!